This video will show you in just a few minutes how to slice and get the most out of El Pozo Serie Oro Reserve cured ham, one of the most highly appreciated on the market. Cured hams are made up of 4 different parts: the thicker rump area or masa, which is far moister and marbled, the slightly more cured rump end or barbilla with less outer fat, the punta or hip, more intense in aroma and flavor, and finally the jarrete or hock, more fibrous and sweeter in flavor. Slicing ham properly requires a series of utensils, including a short but rigid blade puntilla knife to cut along the bone, separating it from the lean meat. We also need a knife to make the first incisions in the ham to clean the tougher sections properly. The habanero knife, with its longer, narrower and flexible blade, is used to slice the ham. We also need a sharpening steel that must be used whenever the blade fails to cut smoothly through the ham, and ideally a pair of tongs to pick up the fine slivers of ham. When starting a new ham, we must consider how it will be consumed. If it is to be eaten over a longer period of time, we should start with the barbilla area, as the meat here is more cured. If it is to be eaten fairly quickly, we should start with the masa. The slices we serve will then be moister and more succulent. To start slicing our cured ham, we will use the cebollero knife to make an incision just a couple of inches below the knuckle bone, before removing all the surface fat and the tougher and more rancid parts of the ham. In order to slice cured ham correctly, we should always cut towards us, following the central section of the ham leg. Remember always to use the long, narrow-bladed habanero knife to cut perfect slices that should be between 3 and 4 centimeters long. They should be as fine as possible so that the fat will melt in the mouth to fully appreciate the rich aromas and fulsome flavors. The first bone we will encounter is the hip bone. To make sure the slices remain straight, use the short-bladed puntilla knife to separate the bone from the lean meat, and then the habanero knife to continue slicing, always in the direction of the bone. The fibula is the next bone we will come to, and again, to keep the slices straight, we should use the cebollero knife to make an incision right down to the bone. Once we have separated the bone from the lean meat, we should make the first slice upwards and away from us, before continuing to slice in the same direction as before. When we reach the central bone, the femur, it's time to turn our ham over. To continue cutting along the barbilla section, we should use our cebollero knife to start cutting the hock, following the lines we have created in the wider section of the rump. Once this incision has been made, clean the surface of the barbilla in the direction of these lines. Once the rump end is clean, we can continue slicing. This time we should focus on the area between the kneecap and the hip, slicing parallel to the direction of the rump end. Once we come to the hip bone, to keep our slices straight, we must again use the short-bladed puntilla knife to separate it from the lean meat, before continuing to slice with the habanero knife. Eventually we will come to the kneecap. Here we should use our cebollero knife to make a right-angled cut to move around the bone and separate it from the lean meat. Next, we use the habanero knife to make an initial upward slice away from us, before continuing to cut downwards and towards us. A third cut is necessary to get the maximum number of slices possible out of our ham. To do this, we place it on its side and slice at an angle to ensure the perfect combination of fat and lean meat. Finally, the lean meat that remains on both the femur bone and the kneecap can be diced and eaten or used in a range of recipes. Enjoy!
El Pozo, with you from start to finish.